Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining me for this PowerPoint presentation on how to reduce stress through mindfulness. My name is Jenny, and I am a graduate student on campus in the social work department. I'm completing my field experience practicum at the Counseling Center on campus. Here is our agenda and what we're going to cover today. I'll briefly talk about what mindfulness is, some common misconceptions related to mindfulness, the ways that mindfulness can benefit you, how it impacts our stress levels, and then we'll talk about some common mindfulness activities and do a mindfulness meditation. So when you see this picture, what are some things that come to mind? The person looks like they have a lot going on in their head and not really taking the time to enjoy their moment outside, whereas the dog has a very clear mind, a clear head, and is able to take in what's actually happening and be present in the moment. So when you think about it, very few of us devote ourselves to living mindfully by meeting each moment of life as it presents itself with full awareness and letting our judgments slip away. Instead, we tend to do things automatically without really noticing what we're doing. A lot of the time, we aren't in the present, but instead, we're living in this multitasking mode where we're thinking about and doing 2, 3, maybe 5 things all at one time. We often get so caught up in our thoughts and feelings about the past or the future that we get lost in them. So we become disconnected from what is happening right now, right in front of us. Often, when we spend too much time living in the past or worrying about the future, we tend to forget to live in today. For many of us, when we focus on the past, it can cause resentment, anger, frustrations, or when we focus on the future, we tend to worry about whether or not we'll be able to accomplish our goals. Both of these things can lead to anxious feelings, depressive feelings, and can create unneeded stress in our lives. So the goal really is to be more like the dog and to live mindfully and in the moment. So naturally, you might be wondering, what exactly is mindfulness? Well, mindfulness is awareness of and paying attention to your body, including what you're sensing, feeling, thinking, and perceiving in the moment, right as it's happening. It's observing moment-to-moment experiences in a non-judgmental and non-blaming way, and that's key, being non-judgmental. It means that you're not trying to change your experience, even if it's a positive or a negative or a neutral experience. Mindfulness is about focusing your attention on the present moment, releasing any worries about the future and any regrets about the past. It's about being able to turn your attention away from negative thoughts and emotions and deliberately placing your attention elsewhere. Mindfulness is being fully intentional with and aware of the choices that you're making. It's about getting involved in the process of things rather than just focusing on the outcomes. And lastly, it's a state of being open and not closed to other points of view. So there are a lot of common misconceptions about mindfulness, and I'm going to just briefly address some of them. So mindfulness is not about escaping or stopping unpleasant thoughts or emotions. Instead, it's about being non-judgmentally aware of them. So in this way, we're not being reactive or bothered by our experiences and emotions. Instead, we're tuning in and paying attention to where we are right now, balancing what's going on inside of us with what's going on around us. And mindfulness is not simply about paying attention, but about paying attention in a particular way. So you're paying attention to present moment experiences with curiosity and kindness instead of with judgment, which is the way our minds usually work. It's about cultivating awareness of and compassion for yourself and others, And with consistent practice, mindfulness can increase our awareness and compassion for ourselves and others. So the point of mindfulness is not to change things, but to learn to coexist with them. It's all about noticing our thoughts, feelings, and sensations, and about accepting them. And acceptance doesn't mean agreement. It just means that you're acknowledging whatever's going on. So mindfulness is actually a skill that all human beings have, but most of us don't know how to uncover and how to use those skills. And even though Buddhist monks have been using mindfulness exercise as forms of meditation for over 2,600 years, it's not limited to a particular religion. Mindfulness practice can be used by all people, regardless of spiritual or religious background or belief. So the target change when we're doing mindfulness and being mindful is the relationship towards our thoughts, and it's not the thoughts themselves that we want to change. So now that you've learned about some common misconceptions of mindfulness and what mindfulness is, you might be wondering, what are the benefits of being mindful? I'll talk about that now. So being present in the moment helps us to have less anxiety about the future and less rumination on the past. It really helps us just to stay in the moment and not worry about things that are upcoming or about things that you should have done yesterday. You're just sitting in the moment and you're being non-judgmental of your thoughts and what's going on around you. It also helps us to have a better relationship with ourselves by increasing our ability to feel self-compassion. So being mindful increases self-acceptance and self-esteem, because not only are we being non-judgmental of others, we aren't judging ourselves either. Being mindful enhances our body's ability to regulate itself. It allows us to give a level of alertness and energy that's appropriate to whatever we're doing at the time. So because of this, our mental concentration and physical performance is enhanced, which is something that's definitely appealing to college students. Mindfulness improves the quality of our relationships because we are giving full attention to the other person during interactions. We're not thinking about supper or how we're going to do our schoolwork or about anything that's going on in the world right now. We're just focusing on who we're with at that time. And mindfulness is a great form of self-care. As you become more present in your life experiences and begin to be more accepting and non-judgmental of yourself and others. And when mindfulness is consistently practiced, it reduces our stress. I'm sure you know that chronic stress is highly prevalent in college students, and it's associated with negative effects on mental, emotional, and physical health. Being in college is hard enough, let alone with everything that we're dealing with right now as we transition to online learning and moving home and social distancing. We have a lot of added stress in our lives, which is why practicing mindfulness can be so important right now. Studies have shown statistically significant decreases in stress levels among college students after involvement in mindfulness activities, which is really exciting because mindfulness is relatively easy once you get in the habit of it. Mindfulness has also been shown to improve sleep habits, promote healthier eating, which improves overall health. So there are a lot of benefits, both physical and mental health-wise, that mindfulness has an impact on. So now that we've talked about the benefits of mindfulness, I'm going to address the way that it can impact our stress levels. So I feel like it's safe to assume that nearly everyone listening knows what it feels like to be stressed out. And it doesn't matter if you experience extreme levels of stress or smaller, lesser levels of stress. Stress is detrimental for our health and our well-being, our academic success, and our relationships. So it is important that we minimize and try to reduce stress in our lives. And while we can never eliminate all stress, we can learn to cope with it differently. So I've been saying that mindfulness can reduce stress, but you might be wondering how it actually works. So I'm going to do my best to try to explain it. So there's been a lot of increased interest in mindfulness, which has led to a lot of studies related to its benefits. And these studies suggest that mindfulness builds an inner strength and resiliency to stress. So future stressors have less impact on our happiness and physical well-being. So mindfulness does this by literally training our brains to respond to experiences in a healthy way, instead of reacting in ways that cause suffering and additional stress. Here's the effects that mindfulness can have on stress. It can bring more awareness to thoughts, so you have a chance to step back from your thoughts, not take them so literally. That way your stress response is not initiated in the first place. Instead, you have a moment to pause and come up with the next best step instead of immediately reacting. The amygdala is responsible for the fight or flight, and it sends distress signals to other parts of the brain. It tells our body when to respond with stress. Consistent mindfulness practice has shown to reduce the size of the amygdala, which, from what I can tell, reduces our levels of stress. Mindfulness practice allows us the space to think differently about the stress itself. We're able to gain new perspectives on stressful situations. It also makes it easier to focus, so we complete our work more efficiently, have a greater sense of well-being, which reduces the stress response. So mindfulness can be incorporated into a wide variety of simple activities that you can do throughout the day. And I'll talk briefly about some of the different activities you can do. So the 5 senses activity only takes 1 to 2 minutes. It's really quick and easy, and it helps to bring you to the current moment. It helps to bring you to the present moment. So what you do for it is you notice 5 things you can see, 4 things you can feel, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. So as I said, it's really quick and easy, and it helps to bring you quickly to a mindful state. And next is the body scan, which helps connect us to our body, and it's used as a form of relaxation, and it relaxes your body from your head to your toes. So it does this by increasing awareness of different regions of the body by focusing on one part at a time. And you notice any sensations while you're doing this. So there are numerous body scan activities and videos online. So if you just Google it, you'll find a lot. Similar to the body scan is the progressive muscle relaxation. So in these exercises, you pay attention to various parts of the body and notice tension in your muscles. So the progressive muscle relaxation involves tightening and releasing muscle groups in a specific order as you breathe in and out. It helps you to feel more relaxed, it helps to relieve tension, and it also might help with sleep problems. So finding a task you usually do impatiently or unconsciously, such as walking, brushing your teeth, waiting in line, although we don't do a lot of that these days, and you just want to do those tasks mindfully. So instead of standing there while you're brushing your teeth and thinking about, oh, I don't know what you're going to do that day or whatever, you're going to just focus on the moment and just be present. So mindful breathing means simply observing and opening your awareness to your breath without controlling it in any way. So you're going to take normal breaths and notice how your body feels as you breathe. And this is a real easy one to do before you go to sleep or when you wake up in the morning. You can just take some mindful breaths. Instead of allowing your mind to wander over what you're going to do that day or what you didn't do that day, just direct your attention to your breathing. So you're going to notice how the air moves in and out of your nose or in and out of your mouth, and you're going to try to think of nothing else. So mindful breathing brings me to the main mindfulness practice that we're going to learn about today to help manage our stress, and that's mindfulness meditation, which we'll cover more in the next slide. So practicing these simple mindfulness exercises occasionally and on and off throughout the day can be really helpful in reducing your levels of stress. It's important to understand that staying in the moment and being aware of what you're doing significantly improves concentration and makes even the simplest tasks more enjoyable. For example, if you let your mind wander when you eat, you might not even notice the taste of your food, let alone truly enjoy it. So now that we know what mindfulness is and isn't, as well as the many benefits of practicing it and some common ways to do it, I'm going to explain a bit about mindfulness meditation and how we can use it to reduce our stress. So meditation is just another way to practice mindfulness. It brings us and our thoughts into the present by focusing on the emotions, thoughts, and sensations that we're experiencing in the moment and allowing them to pass without judgment. So meditation won't eliminate stress, but it helps us to manage it by altering our mindset and changing how we perceive stress. When we consistently practice being mindful, whether it's through another activity that I talked about today or through meditation, our body begins to naturally generate towards a relaxed state. Instead of responding with a heart racing or high blood pressure or racing thoughts, you're going to naturally generate towards a relaxed state. So there's a study by Harvard Medical School which found that mindfulness meditation can change the brain's gray matter and brain regions linked with memory, the sense of self, and regulation of emotions. So mindfulness practice can literally change how your brain works, and it also keeps your brain healthy. So meditation is a skill that we have to learn, and just like any other skill, it takes practice. So think of it like you're exercising a muscle that you've never really worked out before, which is why it requires consistency. The effects of mindfulness meditation are better felt over time, and it takes practice to train our wandering minds to remain in the present. So lastly today, I'm going to just give you some quick guidelines on how to meditate. It's best if you find 5 to 10 minutes of time and you pick a special place to meditate where you won't be interrupted or easily distracted. And you also want to make sure that you pick a place where you feel comfortable and safe. Sitting posture is recommended with feet flat on the floor or your legs crossed comfortably. Some people do practice meditation laying down, but you always risk the chance of falling asleep if you do that. So it's best to sit up. And what you do during meditation is just focus attention on your breath. Your mind will wander because it's human nature. It will happen, but it's okay. If you notice your mind wandering, just accept it. Place no judgment upon yourself, and then just bring your attention back to the breath. There are a lot of guided meditations online, and then after the meditation comes to an end, your awareness is brought back to the present surroundings as the meditation ends. So as I mentioned in the last slide, there are a lot of guided meditations that you can find online. These are just a few of them, but you can find any if you just Google meditation. Headspace is an app for your phone, which is really nice. There's a cost associated with it, but for students, I think it's only $10. But it's a really helpful app, and they have a lot of short, quick meditations that you can do for a lot of different things like stress, self-esteem, sleep, a lot of things like that. So I want to just thank you all for listening and taking the time to learn how to reduce your stress through mindfulness. I hope this presentation was helpful. I hope that you learned something. Have a good day.